I want to talk about time and space in De Quincey's Confessions of the English Opium Eater. If you recall, in the first section of the book, Preliminary Confessions, we get a fairly straightforward narrative account of De Quincey's childhood, with the primary focus being on his time on Oxford Street in London, suffering great pain, hunger, loneliness, but nonetheless finding a very powerful connection with the streetwalker Anne. This is a world that is very recognizable. We can recognize the streets, we can mark the time, and we can imagine the everydayness of the young De Quincey's life: hunger, loneliness, affection. In the second part of Confessions, this changes. The second part of the book is called The Pleasures of Opium. And here we learn about De Quincey's first time taking opium. He suggests that he came across a druggist on a rainy Sunday afternoon and bought the opium from this druggist. And when he returned sometime later, the druggist was gone, suggesting that the druggist might have been more of a product of a dream than reality. The book becomes increasingly hypnagogical as it goes forward, blurring dream and reality to the point where it's difficult to tell what's real and what's not. In any case, in the early parts of The Pleasures of Opium, De Quincey provides these lyrical accounts, these lyrical celebrations of the virtues of the drug. He calls it a panacea for everything, an apocalypse of his inner life. He calls it, "Oh, just, subtle, and mighty opium." And in this section, The Pleasures of Opium, we see a man who actually does get out in the world, the recognizable world. He'll go to the opera and listen to music. He'll walk around London on a Saturday night where all the workers are enjoying themselves after the work week. And in these cases, even though the world is recognizable, it is italicized, it's intensified. There's a shimmer, a sheen, or an aura to the world that the drug generates that would not be there if De Quincey were not on the drug. So even though De Quincey is out in the world, he's also not of this world. There's a sense in which he is a voyeur. He does not participate. He's not out for tactile experience. He's not out to meet anybody, to join into any sort of society. He's simply there to be a sort of connoisseur of odd experience. In this regard, he resembles Lamb, the flaneur, the person who just wanders around the city for the sake of wandering around the city to take in the exciting sights and sounds. So what is time? Time still exists in the second part of the book, but it's time sort of bent or curved into something out of the ordinary. And the same is true of space. And we see De Quincey not really being keen on entering into the temporal flow, into the causal world, the world of if-then. And we see him not really interested in the world of actual maps, the maps you would find in an atlas. But he's more interested in a kind of mental map. This is the world of The Pleasures of Opium. We'll look at time and space in the section The Pains of Opium in a later lecture.